The night is unusually still as you pull off the narrow road and drive deeper into the woods. Your headlights slice through the darkness, revealing twisted trunks and gnarled branches overhead, like skeletal fingers beckoning you into the heart of the forest. You're heading towards that old cabin, an inherited property your family has owned for generations. It's been years since anyone has stayed there, and perhaps that's why you chose to come out here, to escape the noise of the city, the burden of modern life, and the shared smiles that hold little meaning anymore. Out here, in the embrace of the ancient woods, you can breathe. When you finally arrive, the cabin sits nestled in the trees, nearly swallowed by shadows. It is smaller than you remember, weathered wood, chipped paint, and the windows dark, like hollow eyes watching your approach. You step out of your vehicle, the air crisp and cold, and a rush of leaves scrapes against your ankles, whispering secrets lost to time. You grab your bag and tread cautiously towards the door, each step echoing in the silence, breaking the spell of solitude that hangs thick in the night. As you unlock the door, the hinges creak, a sound that almost seems hesitant, as if the cabin itself is questioning your presence. You flick on the light. Dust motes twirl lazily in the beam, and you catch the faint scent of mildew mixed with something like wildflowers. The interior feels almost alive with its layers of history. Old furniture, shrouded in sheets, stands guard over long-forgotten memories, and you find yourself curious about the lives that have passed through here. You set your bag down and take a moment to take it all in. The living room, a space of muted browns and faded greens, feels like a time capsule, a remnant of an era when life was rustic and uncomplicated. You wander into the kitchen, noticing that the refrigerator still hums quietly, a testament to a time when it was full of warm, home-cooked meals and laughter, yet now feels like a tomb, a hollow space devoid of life. After unpacking, you decide to make a cup of tea, hoping to find comfort in the soothing ritual. You rummage through the cabinets, finding mismatched mugs and ancient tea bags with labels faded beyond recognition. As you boil water, the air fills with a rich, earthy aroma that manages to chase away the lingering shadows in your mind. It's strange. Despite being alone, you feel a warmth begin to seep into your bones. It's the safety of familiarity, the dedication to something real that draws you in. But that same comfort soon feels tinged with a troubling awareness that something within these walls has shifted. Later, settled in the living room with your tea, your eyes drift toward the window. Outside, the trees loom larger, their silhouettes twisting under the pale light of the moon. There, the wind rustles the leaves into a murmur, and you strain to listen, trying to decipher what they're saying. You tell yourself it's just the wind, a trick of the mind. Time slips by, each moment punctuated by the rhythmic tick of the clock, until suddenly you realize the light is beginning to wane. A creeping sensation worms its way through you as dusk settles, and you push away the unease. Nightfall is merely a change in the story, you tell yourself, reaching for the logbook left on the small table, because the cabin has a history to explore. Flipping through its pages, you find entries written in delicate cursive. They recount the joys and sorrows of those who came before, narrating laughter shared and storms weathered. Yet one entry catches your eye, and as you read, a chill coils around your spine. There's something watching us now. We can hear it in the night. Sometimes it whispers our names. The words, hastily scrawled, trail off like a manic thought, leaving a thick tension pooling in the air. You shake your head, chuckling uneasily at the ramblings of the past. Yet you can't deny the subtle shift around you, as if the very walls hold their breath. As the night deepens, you explore your surroundings, feeling compelled to uncover more of its enigmatic past. You climb the narrow staircase, the wooden steps creaking underfoot as you reach the second floor, where the flickering light from your portable lantern pools along the floor, illuminating old photographs. Dusty frames line the walls, faces smiling out at you, seemingly frozen in time. You find yourself studying their eyes, searching for something, any sign of knowledge that could explain the unease that now grips you. There is one photograph in particular that draws you in. A striking woman, her hair cascading down her shoulders like dark water, a serene smile on her lips. Yet, once again, something is off. Her eyes, calm yet knowing, seem to follow you, igniting a sense of dread that unfurls in your chest like a blooming flower of darkness. You step back, the lantern flickering as a gust of wind rattles the cabin, and in a momentary pause of vulnerability, you stare out the window. The world outside is a void, darkness pressing against the glass like a living entity. The night wears on, filled with odd sounds, the rustling outside, the creaking of old wood, a symphony of eeriness that furthers your sense of isolation. You retreat back downstairs, feeling the weight of unseen eyes upon you. Your heart races when you hear a persistent scratching noise, increasing in intensity until it feels as if something is clawing to get in. You glance at the door, the unsettling thought taking hold. What if something wants in? Your mind begins to weave fantastical scenarios, shadowy figures lurking in the trees, malevolent spirits longing to reclaim their domain. Finally, you gather the courage to investigate. As you approach the door, the scratching halts suddenly. A momentary silence stretches across the room, and for an instant, you can almost hear your own heartbeat, steady and loud. You take a breath and pull the door open, peering into the enveloping darkness. The moonlight casts an eerie glow, illuminating the surrounding trees, their branches bending and swaying as if they're trying to tell you something. You step out, the chill biting through your clothes. You look in every direction, the shadows becoming more pronounced, a deep anger in the trees as if they're warning you to turn back. The wind sighs, wrapping around you, pulling at your senses until you turn, retreating back inside. Once inside, a sense of urgency hangs in the air. The scratching returns, louder than before, echoing now from the attic above. It is a rhythmic sound, deliberate and insistent, as if something, is trying to break free. Your heart slams against your chest as you realize you cannot ignore it any longer. With shaky legs, you head toward the attic door. The staircase leading up creaks ominously under your weight, each step echoing like a morbid countdown. You reach for the knob, hesitating for a moment before pushing the door open. The attic is dimly lit by a single flickering bulb, the light casting shadows that dance around you, twisting and contorting like lost souls. The energy is thick, almost palpable, heavy with the scent of dust and something else, something stale and suffocating. At first, there's nothing but darkness. But then, as your eyes adjust, you see it. A large trunk sitting untouched in the corner, surrounded by cobwebs. The scratching is louder now, almost rhythmic, as if urging you on. You approach the trunk, your heart racing, and you reach for the clasp, your fingers trembling in anticipation. You throw it open, and a sickening rush of cold air swirls around you, carrying with it the sense of old parchment and preservation. Inside, you find a putrid assortment of items, weathered letters and forgotten trinkets. You sift through the dust, finding a faded diary with a lock. The lock is broken, the page is yellowed and fragile within your grasp. There are drawings scribbled in haste, of grotesque figures intertwined with words that blur between desperation and madness. You read snippets of names, each name tied to anguish, each entry spiraling downward into a ragged Brett, H of despair. Then you come upon a particular entry that makes your stomach drop. She hears them too. They beckon. We cannot escape. Beneath it, an inked finger guides your eyes to a crude sketch of a tree with roots spiraling in all directions like the veins of the earth. The understanding that knots in your throat warns you that these names aren't merely pieces of history. You feel their presence, a collective weight rising around you. The scratching escalates, a frantic call for attention. You slam the diary shut, the sound echoing in the attic like a gunshot, and the noise stops abruptly, a heavy silence swallowing you whole. You feel like you're being watched, not just by memories and ghosts from the past, but by something much darker. Suddenly, a sense of urgency overtakes you. The trunk, you realize it must be closed. You fight the profound instinct, something deep within you compels you to leave what you've unearthed behind. You throw the trunk lid shut, and as it clicks into place, the attic shudders, reverberating with a sound that feels like disappointment. You stagger back, taking slow breaths, your mind racing. Suddenly, the behavior of the cabin shifts again. The air grows colder, almost electric. Shadows deepen. You can hear the whispers again, words slipping through the walls like water, threatening, relentless. They weave around you, hovering just out of grasp, increasing your sense of dread. Fear wraps around your heart as you realize you can't stay. You need to leave this place. You rush down the stairs, the echoes of your footfalls a frantic plea against the encroaching darkness. You barely pause to gather your things before you throw open the door, the cool air hitting you like a wave of clarity. The immediate forest seems alive, every rustle and crackle echoing your own frantic heartbeat. Just as you reach the car, a malevolent force pulls at your ankles, almost inviting you to turn around and witness what lurks within the shadows. And that's when you hear it again, a whisper as clear as a bell. Stay. Now, the choice dances in front of you like a predator waiting in the darkness. You grasp the door of your car, feeling its familiarity, its promise of safety. Or is it? You look back at the cabin, hoping to find comfort in its worn visage, but something shifts in the air. The windows stand dark, and for a fleeting moment, you wonder if the faces in the photos are leering at you, begging you to return, to join them in their haunted existence. But no, not today. You jump into the driver's seat, heart pounding as the engine roars to life. You didn't come here to become part of the stories trapped within the cabin's walls, nor did you wish to offer yourself to the twisted shadows lurking just out of sight. And yet, as you peel out of the gravel and back onto the road, that voice lingers, its echoes clawing at your resolve. A chill pricks along your spine as pine trees blur past, and you can't shake the feeling that the whispers are not over, that they remain haunted and alive within the cabin, still calling out in desperation. You grip the steering wheel tighter, knowing that while you might have escaped, the threads of your life have become intricately woven with the weight of its history. Days and weeks pass, and life returns to normal, its routine a comfort. But late at night, when the world has quieted and the shadows gather at the corners of your room, you sometimes hear them, the whispers. Sometimes, just as you find sleep, you feel a twinge of dread, that perhaps the cabin never truly let you go. Perhaps in its shifting darkness, it still watches, waiting for your return, waiting for you to unravel completely, and the thought gnaws at your sanity. Then, just like that, something stirs in the silence. The fragile breath of a name, echoing from beyond the veil, unfurling a mystery that will never be yours to fully escape.